So, the Austrian Grand Prix. Coming away from Spain, that's the Spanish Grand Prix, we are moving to the Austrian Grand Prix. That's around 11 of the Formula One race or races for the year. In Spain, you saw how close the cars are now. They are a few tenths from each other from qualifying to race. And it's looking like we're getting back to the interesting seasons we've had before in F1, which brings striking balance to Formula One. And it's been very great. And I can tell you, it's funny how close we've come in Formula One, unlike years back in which we were distance away from being close. This will be the third sprint race of the season. The first sprint race we had in China, then we had the second one in Miami. Now we're going to Austria to have another sprint race. And I know it's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be lit. A lot of things will happen this weekend. So coming from the first race won by Max Verstappen, second race won by Max Verstappen. The third race was the first race won outside Red Bull or Max Verstappen this season. That's the Australian GP won by Carlos Sainz due to Max Verstappen's engine issue. Then he bounced back quickly in Japan, winning the Japanese Grand Prix. Went to China, route it all, won the sprint race, won the main race. Now going to the Miami Grand Prix, Lando Norris came out flying in the Miami Grand Prix. Max Verstappen quickly bounced back and won the Italian Grand Prix. Now to a Toffee Nosu Coffee, we went to Monaco and Charles Leclerc sorted out, won. Then we went to Canada and Max Verstappen came to Canada and won the race. We went to Spain again and Max Verstappen in Barcelona, the Catalunya, won the race again. Wow. But the last 5 races had been very close. They have been race of instinct and precision in which Max Verstappen had won the 3 of the 5 races and he had shown dominance and he had shown that he had not just been one of the dominant forces in Formula One, but he really proved himself that he's a great driver, which is a great thing to see. So moving to the Spielberg Arena in Austria for the round 11 again of the races in Formula One this year. Now, the Austrian Grand Prix had been held 42 times. The first one was held in 1963 and it was Zeltweg before. Now it has been moved to a neighboring town in Spielberg, and that is where it has been for a long time. It's now called the Red Bull Ring. Like I said, it was held first in 1963. Driver with the most wins, Max Verstappen with 4 wins. Will he be claiming his 5th win there, showing his pre-Red Bull dominance in Austria? Because Red Bull had been dominant in Austria. That's their home race and they've been dominant. Seriously, Red Bull is dominant in Austria. So Max Verstappen with 4. Will he be winning his 5th this weekend? Constructors with most win in Austria were Ferrari, winning 7 of the Constructors Championship right there in Spielberg. It's a short race, not too long, and the circuit length is 4.318 kilometers, which is about 2.683 miles. With a lot of long straights, that is what makes it a little bit short. And it's an high altitude race, which causes a lot of overheating for drivers, and the height there is going to be one of the biggest challenge that other teams are having, which Red Bull had always been able to deal with. But the Ferrari are looking stronger for the past 2 years in Austria, so we don't know what they've come up with, and now they are planning on making the race interesting. Also McLaren and Alpine. Mercedes have not been doing well in the Spielberg Arena. That's like they are actually ill, and we don't know how they will perform this year, so nobody should bank on Mercedes. I won't be banking my money on Mercedes this weekend, except they give us a good performance in the sprint race. That's when I can say, oh, Mercedes can do well. That's the truth. The race length is the 306.452 kilometers. That's the 190.420 miles with 71 laps. Last year, Max Verstappen on pole. Max Verstappen win. Fastest lap, Max Verstappen with a 1 minute 7 seconds and 110. That is how good it is. Now let's quickly go to the weather before I give you a lowdown of what had happened. The weather for this weekend on Friday, which is the FP1 and the sprint qualifying, there will be just one practice session and the sprint qualifying, and there might be a potential disruptive weather with light showers and light wind on the cards throughout the day, and if the wind plays a role in qualifying, it would make the race more interesting. So the wind is going to be high that day. The risk of rain is 24%. There might be rain earlier that day and during the FP1 and FP2. During the FP1 or sprint qualifying, there might be no rain. So certainly there's 20% chance of rain, 24% chance of rain during the practice session, and 20% chance of rain during the sprint qualifying. The temperatures can hover between 27 degrees high and as low as 13 degrees over the night. On Saturday, the sprint race and the qualifying. Similar conditions as forecasted on Friday, but the rain is hovering around 38% during the sprint race and 50% of rain during the qualifying, with the high of 25 degrees and 13 degrees low. But it's still unpredictable, but that's what we feel the weather is looking like to be. But on Sunday, there might be rain on Sunday, and rain in Austria makes the race more interesting again. 50% chance of rain, and we have temperatures as high as 24 degrees and as low as 13 degrees. It depends on the weather. The humidity factor will be there. We are having about 63% of humidity, and the light wind is expected to blow from southeast on Sunday, which is the main race. So interesting things to come up. Interesting race we are about to look at in Austria, and that is giving us not a confidence in saying, oh, this person will win the race or that person will win the race, but like I said, it's going to be very interesting. Now, the tickets, you might have tickets as low as 70 euros and as for 3 days for as low as 380 euros. It depends on your seating position where you want to be for the race. For the Red Bull FGHI, you can be having about 70 pounds. Red Bull LMN, that's the seat, 70 euros. The start to finish sold out. A lot of tickets are sold out. You know, F1 is getting more interesting. From start to finish, Red Bull B, Red Bull CDE, JK, Turn 10, start to finish, Turn 3, all tickets around there are sold out. Totally sold out. A lot of people are getting more and more into the races recently, which makes it more interesting. Certainly, it's a race you don't want to miss. Now, let me analyze what could happen. The Red Bull are still the benchmark. They are the team to beat. But we have the Ferrari that came up with a better upgrade in Spain. And Spain is one of the testing tracks of the season, majorly for F1. And for European races, is a benchmark. So with the upgrades they brought, they cannot really see through or use everything in the upgrade, so they will be able to learn in Spain and know how to use their upgrades very well. Likewise, McLaren and Mercedes, that have been bringing upgrades for quite some time, and they will bring upgrades for now till Silverstone. Then towards the end of the season, they will start bringing upgrades again. So these teams are getting closer, and with Red Bull being the benchmark, they brought upgrades in Spain. Will they be bringing much upgrades when they know now that all teams are bunched up and it's getting tighter, it's getting much more interesting? What will they be doing? But we don't know yet. I will still say, like I said, the benchmark is still Red Bull, but now we are getting to places in which we can say who will take the pole and who will win the race. Where will the Red Bull start from? But we know there are 4 teams in the competition. We have the Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren and Ferrari. How will they bunch up? How will they line up for the race on Sunday? Will be a difficult ask, but it's going to be very interesting. The Pirelli data, the traction will be having 2:5 traction. Braking is not a serious braking circuit. There are lots of long straights in Austria on the track there. Lateral, lots of mountains and straight line, like I said. Tire stress, not so much tire stress because you have less corners to ply. The asphalt grip is a little bit okay, but is a little bit abrasive, so they will be going with the softest tire compound. That's the C3, C4, C5. That is in the order of hard, medium and soft. That is the same tires that were used in Monaco. Then the downforce level is medium. That's a 3/5 to do the 71 laps, 10 corners in Austria. And now let me give you the lowdown of the past 2 races we've had there, along with their sprint races. Now, in 2022, it was a good qualifying in which we had the 2 Mercedes in Q3. The wind, like I said earlier, can take you off the corner. There are lots of hairpins there in Austria. The wind was just taking the 2 Mercedes as if they are the lightest car on the grid. The wind was just swinging them into barriers. In qualifying, the 2 Mercedes, Russell and Hamilton, qualified. Hamilton 10th, Russell 5th. While Max Verstappen got the pole position, Charles Leclerc 2nd, Carlos Sainz 3rd, and Sergio Perez 4th. It was a beautiful race in which also in the sprint race, Max Verstappen qualified ahead of the Ferraris, and he won the race with Charles Leclerc 2nd and Carlos Sainz 3rd, George Russell 4th, Sergio Perez 5th, Esteban Ocon 6th, Kevin Magnussen 7th, and Lewis Hamilton 8th. After Lewis Hamilton struggled all through the race to overtake Mick Schumacher during the sprint race, and it was also raining during the sprint race in the 2022 sprint race. But in the main race, Charles Leclerc was able to overcome with strategy and with his own strength and determination to win the race in Austria, with Max Verstappen coming 2nd. The Ferraris should have been 1-2 on the podium. Unfortunately, Carlos Sainz's teammate, 4 or 5 laps to go, lost his engine, crashed out. Lewis Hamilton coming 3rd, George Russell 4th, Esteban Ocon 5th, Mick Schumacher 6th, Lando Norris 7th, Magnussen 8th, and Ricciardo 9th. After a lot of tags with Vettel, it was a funny race in which Sergio Perez had a tag with George Russell and he was out of the race from lap 1. Very interesting race. Let's go 2023. I'm just giving you these ideas so that we can look at what possibly might happen in 2024. 2023 sprint race, Max Verstappen won it comfortably with his teammate teammate. Coming second, Carlos Sainz third, Lance Stroll fourth, Fernando Alonso fifth, Nico Hülkenberg sixth, Esteban Ocon seventh, George Russell eighth, Lando Norris ninth, Lewis Hamilton 10th. The three Britons 8 to 10. While in the qualifying, Max Verstappen showed his dominance, qualified by 400 tenths ahead of Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz third with about 1/10 away from Max Verstappen. Lando Norris fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Stroll sixth, Alonso 7th, Hülkenberg 8th, Gasly 9th, and Albon 10th, with George Russell out in Q2. But in the main race, Max Verstappen showed his dominance, won the race. Charles Leclerc 2nd, Sergio Perez 3rd, Carlos Sainz 4th, Lando Norris 5th, Alonso 6th, Hamilton 7th, Russell 8th, Gasly 9th, and Lance Stroll 10th. Looking into the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend, it's going to be a very interesting race. Like I told you, we can't tell you who will win the race, but it's going to be interesting. With the weather, with the wind, with the heat, with the cars bunched up close. Watch out for FP1 and the sprint qualifying on Friday, the analysis. And on Saturday, watch out for the sprint race and the main qualifying. While on Sunday, you're going to get the full analysis. It's going to be bangers. Catch you guys. I love you guys. Ichi. Oh, bye.